I've driven through deserts most of my adult life. People who haven't done it don't really understand how different it feels compared to normal highways. In the daytime, it's just heat and distance. At night, it becomes something else entirely. The land feels empty in a way that's hard to explain. Sound doesn't travel the same. Light doesn't behave the same. You always feel like you're being watched, even when you know there's probably nothing there. This happened in late 2004, when I was working as a contracted driver in southern Arizona, hauling supplies for private ranch owners who operated far away from cities and paved roads. These weren't tourist areas. These were places where, if your truck broke down, you could sit for hours without seeing another vehicle. That particular job was routine on paper. Deliver livestock feed, pipes, and equipment to a ranch about 3 hours from the main highway. I had done similar runs dozens of times. What made this trip different was the timing and the company. By the time the truck was loaded, the sun was already starting to drop. The load included several sheep, boxed hardware, and long PVC pipes stacked along one side of the flatbed. The ranch owner insisted I take along a helper named Hassan. He was newly hired, not American, and unfamiliar with desert work. He didn't speak much English, and we mostly communicated using short phrases and gestures. I didn't like late departures for desert runs, but refusing work wasn't an option back then. We left just before sunset. The highway stretched ahead of us like a straight black line cutting through orange light. Heat shimmer danced on the asphalt, creating mirages that looked like pools of water ahead. Anyone who's driven long desert highways knows how disorienting that can be. Your eyes tell you one thing. Your brain knows it's wrong. As the sun sank lower, the desert turned red, then purple, then gray. Darkness came fast. After about an hour, I pulled over briefly to stretch and say a short prayer. I've always done that before long drives in isolated areas. Hassan stayed in the truck. I noticed he didn't seem interested or respectful about it, but I didn't say anything. Everyone has their own habits. When I got back in, we continued driving in silence. Eventually hunger caught up to us. We hadn't eaten all day. We stopped at a small gas station diner, the kind you only see on long desert routes. Flickering lights. One employee. A menu that hasn't changed in decades. I ordered 2 boxed meals, rice with roasted lamb, and a couple of sodas. I ate quickly. Hassan ate slowly. That's when I noticed how he was eating. He wasn't just eating the meat. He was chewing the bones, cracking them, sucking the marrow, making wet grinding sounds. It bothered me, but I ignored it until he rolled down his window and threw a stripped bone out into the desert. I told him not to do that. He didn't respond. He just kept eating. A few minutes later, he threw another bone out. This time I raised my voice. I told him to keep the remains inside the box and throw them away properly later. He finally stopped, but his mood changed. He went quiet and tense, staring out the window. Not long after, we turned off the highway onto a narrow dirt access road. This road cut straight through open desert for about 20 miles. No lights, no houses, no cell signal. The moon was high and bright. The sand looked pale, almost glowing. Black rock hills rose on both sides like jagged silhouettes. About 10 minutes into that road, something ran across the headlights. I slammed the brakes. It was fast, dark, low to the ground. Maybe a coyote, maybe a large feral dog. Hassan panicked immediately. He started muttering that it was a bad sign. I told him to calm down. Animals cross roads all the time. Less than a mile later, the rear tire blew out. The explosion was loud enough to echo off the rocks. The truck lurched sideways. I fought the wheel and managed to stop before sliding off the road. Hassan jumped out of the truck, yelling that he had warned me. He kept saying this place was cursed. I was irritated but focused. Tires fail. That's not supernatural. We had a spare. When I climbed out, the first thing I noticed was the sheep. They were restless. Not loud, but uneasy. Shifting. Making low sounds like they didn't like something nearby. The ground was soft sand, which meant the jack wouldn't hold unless I placed something solid underneath. I asked Hassan to help me look for a flat rock. He refused. He said the place felt wrong. He said he didn't want to move away from the truck. I told him to stay put and walked ahead alone, using only the moonlight and the truck's headlights behind me. I hadn't gone far when something felt off. The air felt heavier, cooler. Then I noticed the fog. It was thin and low, but it hadn't been there before. It didn't roll in like normal fog. It just appeared, settling around my legs and rising slowly. I turned around to check the truck. I couldn't see it clearly anymore. Just two blurred headlights floating in white haze. That's when I heard laughter. It wasn't loud. It wasn't distant. It sounded like it was right behind me. I turned. Through the fog, I saw a human-shaped figure standing where I had just walked. At first, I thought it was Hassan. The height was similar. The posture was similar. Then it spoke. The voice was wrong. Too clear. Too sharp. It cursed at me in fluent English, mocking me personally. The tone wasn't angry. It was amused, like it was enjoying itself. Hassan couldn't speak English like that. My chest tightened. I felt cold from the inside out. I grabbed the flat rock I had just found and started backing away. The figure followed, still laughing, still insulting me. Each word felt heavier, like it was pressing into my head. I started praying under my breath. The closer I got to the headlights, the weaker the voice became. When I crossed into the edge of the light, the fog thinned instantly. The voice stopped. I ran the rest of the way back. Hassan was standing exactly where I left him, pale and shaking. He swore he hadn't moved. We changed the tire as fast as we could. I didn't tell him what I saw. I just told him to get in the truck and keep the windows shut. As soon as we started driving again, the fog turned into wind, then into a sandstorm. Visibility dropped to almost nothing. Sand slammed into the windshield. The headlights reflected straight back at us. The sheep started screaming in panic. I stopped the truck completely. Driving blind out, there would have been suicide. The sheep grew louder. Something felt wrong in the back. I grabbed a flashlight and climbed out. When I shined the light into the far corner of the flatbed, I saw something crouched among the pipes. It wasn't human. It had a human-shaped torso, dark leathery skin, long fingers with thick joints, and legs bent backward like an animal's. Its eyes reflected red in the beam. Its mouth was dry, stretched, full of dirty teeth. It hissed at me. I didn't think. I slammed the tarp shut and ran. I got into the truck and drove. I don't remember how long we drove. I just remember praying out loud and keeping the truck straight until the storm stopped as suddenly as it began. When we reached the ranch, workers rushed out. They said we were hours late. They helped unload the truck. When they opened the back, there was nothing there. That night, Hassan stayed with the workers. Something banged on their dorm door, cursing and laughing in the same voice I heard in the fog. An older worker prayed until it stopped. I left before sunrise. The road back was calm, clear, normal. I never took another desert run at night after that.